Hi, my name is Matt and we're using DaVinci Resolve, and welcome to the second episode of my Fusion Effect tutorials. So today I wanted to show you guys how to do a exposure flash effect. That's what I call it. It's just a flash. But before I get started and show you what this result is, I wanted to say that the video transitions inside of DaVinci, while they're really nice, can be problematic at times because this brightness flash that exists inside of DaVinci, it's nice, but it's a cross dissolve with a gains effect on it. So it's gonna brighten up the image and cross dissolve. And the problem with cross dissolves is that it needs data coming in from one clip and the other. And if you don't have that, then it just doesn't work. You'll run into that problem if you're trying to put a transition into the very beginning of the clip along with the very end of another clip, because there's no data for it to cross-reference. So I'm going to remove this. Let me show you guys what we're working towards today. Very simple. Well, pretty advanced, but still pretty simple. So rather than use the brightness flash transition, we can just use an adjustment layer like we did last time for our base shake effect, and we can do pretty much the same thing, just with a little bit of style added to it. You can add other things to it, but I'm just going to show you guys how to add my stylistic type of approach to it. And the cool thing about these adjustment clips is that you can move them around and put them wherever you want, and it will work anywhere you put them. Also, you can make it as long as you'd like, and the effect will be stretched out over the course of time that it takes for the adjustment clip to elapse. So now, with all that being basically explained, let me go ahead and move this adjustment clip to the right. We're going to start by putting an adjustment clip in our timeline by typing adjustment clip on the toolbox, drag this in. For the sake of the tutorial, let's make this about 8 frames long. 8 frames is good. Boom, right there. Set it right on top of these two clips. Now we're going to right click the adjustment clip and go into the Fusion page. From here, your Fusion page should look something like this. And to get it to look like mine, you're going to want to open your spline graph by going to the top right. This is so you can see your keyframes. And you want to right click the very empty space right here, and you want to click force all tile pictures. This just gives you a visual representation of what the tiles are doing, or the nodes in this case. And you can also click arrange tools and then to grid. This will force all of the nodes to line up to the grid to make them nice and neat for you. All right, let's get right into it. Select media and N1, press shift spacebar, bring in a brightness and contrast node right here. And today we're going to be using the anim curves modifier. So let's go ahead and right click brightness. And just so you know why I'm using brightness, gain is destructive. If we go too far, it makes the picture crunchy. But brightness retains the details in the image while also brightening it up. So we're going to go and use that today. You can also pair this up with the contrast and the saturation and the gamma, but just for the sake of the tutorial, let's just stick with the brightness. And then we are going to select brightness, and we are going to modify with, and then anim curves. Going to the modifiers tab, we're going to see that this effect is just going to play out from left to right. I'm going to go ahead and describe what exactly is going on here. So basically with these anim curves, what they're going to do is they're going to automatically make keyframes going from one point to another. In this case, the clip is 8 frames long, but no matter how long you make this, it's just going to stretch it out, and it's going to go from one value to another. Now, since we want a transition, we're going to want the effect to go in and then out. So I'm going to check the mirror box, which is going to change this graph to an in and then out. We're also facing another issue. Once we do that and we go to the middle, we're reaching maximum brightness and the screen goes white. I personally don't like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the scale and I'm going to put this at 0.5. which is going to give us this flash going in and out. Now, if you want a quick way to understand scale and offset, scale is where are we going and offset is where are we starting. And since it's a boomerang effect, we're starting from 0, going to 0.5, and then regressing back to 0. As you can see on this graph right here, it's going up and then back down. The curve is set to linear, and you can smooth it out by choosing easing and choosing sine, which would smooth out this graph. But personally, for these types of transitions, I prefer something that is linear. So I'm going to go back, select linear, just like that. Boom, we have our transition. Like I said, remember guys, really drill this into your head. Offset is where we're starting and scale is where we're going to as far as the keyframes are concerned. You can go to the timing and adjust the timing on it too to make it biased towards the beginning of the clip or the end of the clip based off the offset. But usually I don't touch these controls for transition, so I'm just going to close that. So what if we wanted to add an extra little pizzazz to this flash transition we're doing? Personally speaking, since I prefer like playing with the saturation values and the brightness values and maybe adding a little bit of blur, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go back to the tools tab and we're going to go to the saturation and we're going to modify this with animate curves as well. We're going to check the mirror box because we want to go back in and out. And under the spline graph menu, I'm going to click the saturation and M curve so I can see these. So if you notice, this started at a value of 5 and offset is where we're starting and scale is where we're going. So for offset, I'm going to put this at 1, and for scale, I'm going to put -1 because I want it to dip to black and white and then come back up. And you're going to get this saturation rip. It's going to be reintroduced very smoothly back in. Pretty cool, huh? And M curve saves you a lot of time when it comes to transitions, so you never have to really make it again if you save it. I'll show you how to save it after we're done. Let's add one last thing that I would do to this, and we're going to add a Gaussian blur. Same thing as last time. We're going to right click the strength and we're going to modify with NM curves. I'm going to select the Gaussian blur, NM curve, and it seems like we are starting at 0 and scaling all the way up to maximum, which is 1, and that's really absurd. We're going to check the mirror box, going to the middle, and we're going to dial this back right here. Probably dial this to like a 0.35. Yep, there we go. So like I said, guys, offset, where are we starting? Scale, where are we going? Starting at a value of 0, scaling to a 0.35, coming back down. And there you have it. Now we have our effect. Boom. And it's pretty smooth, and you can pair this with sound effects to make it have more impact. But this is basically my brightness flash preset that I prefer to run, or exposure flash, whatever you want to call it. And if you wanted to save this clip for future use, you can actually go to your power bins. And if you don't know where your power bins are at, you just go to your media pool and you click these 3 dots, and you're going to select show power bins right here. This power bin master box should show up. I made a folder called transitions, and then you can literally just take your effect, drag it in, rename it to flash. There you go. And you can just drag it back in and use it whenever you want. Pretty neat. Really cool. And that concludes the tutorial, guys. If there's anything that I didn't explain all the way, or if you want to know anything else in addition to this, you could ask those questions in the comments, and I am free to explain anything else in Fusion that you guys may want to learn. Just keep in mind that I want to explain things so that I can provide you the most simple and pragmatic way possible. But until then, guys, I'll see you later.